What's up, everyone? It's Dakota, and today I'm going to be going over one of my favorite Theros Beyond Death cards that has been spoiled so far in the set. And probably, really hits the mid range player in me. I love playing like green black or green black red, like creature decks, just really playing grindy games of Magic, mid rangey games of Magic are probably my favorite ones to play. And Polukranos just reeks like super like mid-range like grind all-star for the format going into 2020. So what the heck does this card do? Why do I think that? Well, Polukranos Unchained is a 4 mana 0/0 legendary zombie hydra that enters the battlefield with 6+1/+1 counters on it. And then if it escapes, it has 12+1/+1 counters on it instead. Whenever it's dealt damage while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, you prevent that damage and remove that many counters from it. You can also pay a 1, a green, and a black to have it fight another creature. And then the escape cost is 4 of any, a black, a green, and exiling 6 other cards from your graveyard. So, what the heck do I mean by this thing is just like an all-star, essentially. So, how I feel about it is the same way that people feel about the Elspeth Planeswalker, is that without any plus abilities, people are trying to find ways to keep putting counters on her and make her stick around forever, essentially, and never having to cast her for the escape cost. And while that's great and everything, while we definitely have the tools from War of the Spark to keep like putting counters on not only planeswalkers but even creatures, I think Polukranos is a fine card just to have die once it runs out of counters. And basically by that logic, being able to cast it from your graveyard and get 12+1/+1 counters on it instead of 6. A 6 mana 12/12 is nuts. People were, big on Galta because it had the potential to be a 2 mana 12/12 trampler, and this card is literally just a walking removal spell that, yeah, when it does fight something or when it blocks or when it gets blocked, like, you have to remove counters from it and prevent damage from it, but this prevents it from being chump blocked by small death touch creatures. The only death touch creature that really kills this thing is Questing Beast, but even then, like, it and Questing Beast more than likely just trade in combat anyway, which is fine because usually Questing Beast is a beating and a really hard card to deal with if you don't have a removal spell ready for it. So that being said, like, Polukranos basically just like screams this mid-rangey, like, just beat you down and grind your opponent out, you know, just by naturally playing the game of Magic, especially when you're a mid-range deck and you're trying to trade resources with your opponent, you're 1-for-1ing a lot, trying to 2-for-1 a lot, you end up getting a lot of cards put in your graveyard for, from just playing the game. And Polukranos just turns those extra cards into more value. And kind of what makes the adventure cards really good is the fact that they creatures have a spell stapled to them that just makes them better. In the terms of like Swift End and Murderous Rider, you get a Hero's Downfall type effect. Even though you lose 2 life, you get a Hero's Downfall effect, and then you get a 2/3 body that when it dies, it gets put to the bottom of your library. Polukranos kind of tells me like the same thing in the sense that it's a 6/6. It'll probably come down. It kills what, 2 or 3 creatures just through combat. Like, you attack, like, you force your opponent to chump block, or they think that they can attack into your Polukranos, and you just block and kill their things. Because if they don't attack, then you're just going to fight and basically like make a huge hole for your other creatures to get through, especially Polukranos with any counters that are left. So then they get rid of it once, but then through naturally playing the game, you're able to, like, on turn 6 or turn 7, just play this 12/12, and they're in the same position again where it's like, I need to get rid of this card. And if they have another removal spell for it, sure, it goes to your graveyard. Guess what you can do? Maybe even the next turn, 2 turns tops later, you get to play this thing again, and your opponent's back in the same position where they have to deal with this card. And it's just such an annoying card to deal with, because the fact of the matter is, like, when you cast it once from your hand and then you cast it again with its escape cost, you effectively cast, like, you cast the same card twice, which means, like, when they spent like a removal spell, like 2 removal spells to kill it, you essentially 2-for-1 them because you've cast like they've removed like the same card twice with two cards, you know. And that sounds like a weird 2-for-1 because you spent your turn casting this card. But realistically, like if they don't have anything for this, that it just gets out of control. It gets out of hand. It clears their board. It clears the way for your other things to get through. Like if you have your own questing beast, Polukranos just takes out all the big guys, and then questing beast just comes through and beats through all the small guys. While also playing good defense. Now, do I think Polukranos is the best 4-drop creature? No, I think Questing Beast is, simply for the fact that like Polukranos and Questing Beast like trade off of each other, and Questing Beast can play defense better. But in the long game, in the actual long game, like Polukranos might not have anything on Questing Beast as being a straight 4-drop, and if it didn't have the escape mechanic on it, this card would be much worse than Questing Beast. But having escape in the cost and also just being able to fight things, I think is what pushes this card to be at the same level, if not higher, than Questing Beast as far as 4-drops to be playing in the format. And if there is a mid-range deck to be played, I think Polukranos is going to be brought to the front of it and is going to be one of the marquee cards that you want to be playing in said deck. Should it exist in the standard format, Pioneer, if it has a home for it in Modern, throw it in there too. I don't think this is a card that like Jund or like Abzan really want, but like who knows? Weirder things have happened in the Modern format. We've had a ton of busted broken cards in 2019. Maybe this ends up being one of the ones in 2020. Who knows? But that's gonna be it for me. I just wanted to talk about probably one of my favorite cards so far printed in Theros Beyond Death. I haven't been this excited about a creature in a mid-range deck since Siege Rhino, if that tells you anything, and how highly I think of this card. So, if you guys enjoyed the video and you want to see more content like this, I post like modern deck techs, Pioneer deck techs. I go over some of like the spoiler cards and their potential in like standard and Pioneer, and such other fun videos. Feel free to check them out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more of that stuff. Like the video if you like Polukranos, if you honestly enjoy the spoiler season that we're having so far. A lot of powerful cards. Like the video, share it with your friends, get them talking about it, get them into Magic, all that great stuff. Follow me on Twitter. I have my Twitter in the bio or the description of this video, that you can follow me, know when I post videos, know when I go live on Twitch. And speaking of Twitch, follow me on Twitch as well. Help us get to affiliate and maybe even partnered by the end of this year. I do a lot of non-Magic stuff on my Twitch channel, but always open to talking about Magic and even playing Magic, brewing, all that fun stuff on Arena and MTGO as well. And as always, I thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.